Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be finally reviewing, demoing, and swatching the brand new Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. Now there is a lot of controversy surrounding this palette at the minute. There are a lot of negative reviews floating around. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the controversy and the drama associated with this palette a little bit more into the video. So this one launched on the 25th of July, brand new. She is the sister palette to the Modern Renaissance palette. I will be showing comparisons between these two as well. So if you guys are interested in learning more about this palette, then please keep on watching. Okay, so this is the palette here. It comes in this kind of turquoisey, greeny, bluey box. This does retail for $42, the same as the Modern Renaissance palette. So you get 0.7 grams of product per eyeshadow. There is 14 eyeshadows in this one. And when you open it up, that is what the actual palette looks like. So it's got the same, felt kind of covered material as the Modern Renaissance palette. And this is what the two of them look side by side. As you can see, they have slightly changed the logo a little, but pretty well everything else is exactly the same size, same width, same packaging. Okay, so when you open up the palette, this is what the shades look like. Really beautiful kind of grungy tones. They are majority matte. There are three kind of shimmery shades. They call one a metallic and the other two duochromes, but we will show them in more detail when we do go through the swatches. So if you're not already aware, the Subculture palette was designed as a sister to the Modern Renaissance. So the shades in this one are designed to complement and kind of work with the Modern Renaissance palette. So yeah, they're meant to be sister palettes. I'll show you them side by side. So here are the two palettes side by side. Obviously the Modern Renaissance is very warm, berry kind of pink undertone palette, whereas Subculture, I would say, is a good mixture of cools, warms. There are some colors in there. And Norvina said herself that these two together, paired together as a sister duo, she says that, she doesn't really need any other colors, although I can still see we have got no matte black or a matte white. So I still think that there are definitely colours missing, and I wouldn't find that with just these two alone, enough versatility to just travel with these two palettes. In saying that, I do think that they are both beautiful. Now, obviously the Modern Renaissance palette was very popular. It's sold out. It's been consistently sold out in most Sephora stores. I absolutely adore warm tone palettes, so obviously I did love this one. I don't actually find myself reaching for it as much as you probably would expect. I feel like maybe I just kind of forget about it a little bit. Looking at it now, I'm like, oh my lord, I need to use this so much more because it is gorgeous. But honestly, looking at these two, I would nearly grab Subculture first from a first impression. Like, I love the shades in Subculture. They're so different. There's some beautiful orange for blending. There's some pinks and berries, and I'm just so excited to finally get my fingers into it. All right, so here is another closer look at the colors. Very different, I would say, very edgy. They describe the Subculture palette to have kind of like an underground vibe, and it definitely does. Alright, so what we're going to do now is move on to the swatches. I'm going to show you finger and brush swatches of all of the shades so you can get a good idea. There's been so much controversy around this palette, a lot of negative reviews, people saying that they absolutely hated it, and the concern that I have is once one person does a negative review that actually gets circulated quite well, gets a lot of views, technically goes viral, kind of everybody else seems to jump on the bandwagon and rat out a palette immediately before really testing it properly. That's just something that I've observed. Obviously that, I'm entitled to my opinion and you're entitled to yours, but I'm going to go into the review and the swatches of this palette with a fresh look with no preconceived ideas, because I don't want my impression of it to be swayed by other previous negative reviews. Like I said, from looking at the colors, as a first impression without touching it, I think it looks really pretty. I think that the color palette is very interesting, very different, but at the same time, very cool. So I just wanted to give that quick little disclaimer. Let's jump into the review. Okay, so first shade that we've got here is Cube. This is the first duochrome. It doesn't swatch that well with a brush, and you can actually hardly see it on my skin tone, unfortunately. Then we've got Dawn. Again, doesn't show up too well, but very buttery, very creamy. Destiny is this beautiful sort of khaki army green, and then we've got Adorn, which is that beautiful metallic gold. Definitely swatches a lot better with a finger than a brush. Then All Star, which is like this beautiful mulberry burgundy, really gorgeous matte color, and then Mercury is like this gorgeous soft taupey kind of gray, followed by Axis, which is that really amazing deep turquoise blue. So that's the top row of the palette there. Then we've got Roxy, which is an amazing coral matte shade. I'm absolutely obsessed with this. So much pigmentation. Followed by Electric. Definitely need to use a wet brush with this one. I got hardly any pigment at all when using a dry my brush. Then Fudge, this is actually an old repeated shade. This one did pop up in other palettes. New Wave, Obsessed, look how well these swatch. Untamed swatches beautifully with a finger, but not that well with a brush, but still works well on the eyes. Then Edge, again, Obsessed. And then finally Rowdy, which is like this gorgeous purple shade. So there is all of the bottom row. Let's move on to the tutorial. Okay, first going in and priming my eyes with the MAC Paint Pot. This is the colour Painterly. I do normally prefer to use Soft Ochre, but I cannot find it. Surprise, surprise. And then I'm just quickly setting that down with some translucent powder to remove any tackiness from the area so that blending will not be affected. There were quite a few issues with this palette highlighted. A lot of people saying that they had difficulties blending. A lot of people saying that when they dipped their brush into the shadows that they basically just fell apart and that they hit pan immediately within 10 seconds. Yeah, there's been a lot of controversy, so I am actually interested to finally touch this and see how it goes. Okay, I'm starting with a MAC 224 brush, and I'm first going to pick up a Dawn. Okay, so there's definitely a lot of product immediately going onto my brush when dipping it into the pan, and looking at the pan there is quite a bit of fallout, so I can definitely vouch for that. I'm just going to get rid of any excess. I'm going to start working this one through the crease. So Dawn, it seems, is a very soft kind of muted apricot kind of beige kind of colour. Beautiful blending colour. And as you can see, I have had no issues blending that out whatsoever. I'm now going in with Edge, which is kind of like a mustard yellow. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, that is a really cool colour. So far, still having no issues. I mean, Edge over top of that Dawn colour, it kind of disappears. But you can see it's looking much more yellow on my lid still. I think with eyeshadow formulas, people get afraid of change, and something that's different or perhaps doesn't perform the way that they're used to gets labelled as bad quality or, you know, negative, when really it's a change. But at the same time, like, if consumers aren't aware that they need to use a product differently, like, how are they supposed to know? Like, it works on both ways. I'm picking up New Wave now, which is kind of like a deeper orangey yellow colour. As you can see, there's a lot of, like, dabbing your brush even with the slightest pressure will result in a lot of kickback with these shadows, definitely. I don't know if you can see here, like, see how much kickback there is with these two yellow colours? Like, there definitely is a lot of kickback. Can also see that Edge colour, while it did start quite bright, it's probably fair to say that it's actually oxidised in my crease there. Like, it's gotten a little dark. Like, it's definitely dulled down into like more of like a muted mustard. I don't hate it, but it's definitely different to the colour it was when I first applied it. Alright, now this one is, what is this? New Wave. Oh, these colours are so different. Very cool though. Alright, so you can see in my socket here, everything is blended out really well. There's no harsh lines. I've actually got, despite there being so much product on the brush when first initially going in, I have got no fallout on my cheeks or under eye area. So I'm pretty happy with that so far. I hope that the camera's picking it up, but like, you really do get a lot of kickback with these shadows, a lot. Same as the others. Roxy is like the coral kind of pinky colour, a lot of kickback. I'm kind of scared, but I'm not going to tap off the excess. I'm going to go straight into my eye and we're going to see what happens. Oh, still surprisingly, no fallout. It's really interesting. Oh my god, Roxy's an amazing colour. Look how nice that is. I'm just like kind of trying to test as many colours as I can on camera for you. Whoa. That on its own is such a cool eyeshadow look. Okay, I'm going to take a smaller blending brush. This is the Sigma E25 blending brush. And I'm going to go into All Star. Whoa. Look how much pigment that picked up. Like, that is insane. Oh my god. And when I tap off the excess, you can see that there's quite a bit of eyeshadow fallout there on the back of my hand. Start by just patting before blending. So easily. You only need, honestly, the tiniest amount. I would recommend, you know, think about the normal level of pressure that you would apply when putting your eyeshadow brush into an eyeshadow pan. Do like 1/10 of that pressure, because these seriously like, you're gonna burn through them if you use too much pressure in the pan. They're so soft. All right, I'm now going to try, I mean, this color is just like speaking to me, so I'm actually gonna try this one out and maybe a little bit of this one and maybe a little bit of this one. Okay, so this is Access, that deep turquoise bluey green. Oh wow, so pigmented. I didn't even need to dab my brush back into the eyeshadow. Like, I had enough shadow on one side of that brush to do both eyes, which is very much unheard of. Okay, so you can see if you do build it up with a blending brush, that color payoff does stay intact fairly well, and it does stay pretty green. Okay, going in with a Dawn now. This is that shimmery kind of bronze. Definitely works better when you use a finger than a brush, this one as well. But beautiful. And then lastly, I'm finishing with Electric, which is like that sort of yellowy duochrome color. It's got very much like a cream texture in the pan. Really cool color. I'm going to apply that to the inner corners of my eyes. Maybe mix it with a little bit of Cube as well, actually. Probably going to want to apply this one over a white base because I'm not getting as much color payoff as I probably would like. See how it's kind of coming out, I don't know, kind of subdued. Yeah, that's just one thing I've noticed. All right, let me tidy this up and finish my makeup off camera, and I'll be right back. All right, so here is the finished look with the palette. I am very happy with how this came out. I didn't have any issues blending it. I think, obviously, like I said, that the shadows are obviously very soft. You do get a fair bit of kickback with them, but at the same time, if you know that going into using this, then you're not going to be so shocked or surprised. The colors are really, really different to any other palettes that I have in my collection, which I think is cool. Like, it's a nice little, you know, addition to my collection. I'm getting kind of sick of purchasing palettes that have got, you know, all of the same colors. So yeah, I think this is like a really cool, edgy, underground, vibey, kind of punk-ish kind of palette. And I think that it's definitely worth looking into if you are into these kinds of shades. Just a quick reference to all of the scandals and the drama and, you know, all of the controversy going on with this palette. Yes, these eyeshadows are pressed very, very, very softly. Yes, I do think that you need to use very soft brushes with only a very light touch. Don't use anything too coarse or harsh. But yeah, I would just say use, you know, gentle pressure when working with this one. They're super pigmented. You do get a lot of kickback, a lot of payoff with the shadows, but you do get a lot of fallout as well as a result of the very soft pigmented and pressed formula. So yeah, I think that it's beautiful. I think that it does make a very nice little sister palette to the Modern Renaissance. I mean, I also find as well when dipping into the Modern Renaissance palette that you do get a lot of fallout with these shadows as well. As you can see there, like, I have just touched the brush very softly into that one. The result is really no different. So I do think that the formula of these two are very much similar, if not identical. I mean, I can look into that further and link some information in the description bar down below, but they do work, blend, and feel just as good as each other. So yes, those are my thoughts on the palette today, guys. I hope that today's review helped you a little. I do know that there's a lot of clashing reviews going on at the minute, so yes, I hope this video did help. But yes, I love you guys so much, and I will catch you all in my next video. Bye!